Hi everyone, welcome back to Storytime Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the film from 2015, The Lobster. Without any further, let's get started. The movie begins with a woman driving down a road. When she comes to a field full of baby donkeys, she gets out of her car and shoots one of the animals till it dies. David, an architect, is the film's main character. His wife recently moved out of his house and started dating someone else. In order to find him another companion, he has been brought to the hotel. David is with Bob, his dog, who was once his brother but experienced a change in form due to the lack of companionship.
He didn't think that the first thing most...
In order to register at the hotel, a hotel employee interviews David after he signs a document. According to the rules of dating, the couple should have a common defining characteristic. Since David's short sight is one of his defining traits, he ought to find a mate who shares this trait. In addition, David discloses that after 11 years of marriage, his wife left him for a less visionary man.
Around 12.
Do you remember?
The hotel's manager and her husband then show him to his room and give him a rundown of the rules. In response to the manager's question about what animal he would like to be if he couldn't find a partner, David says he wants to be a lobster, because they have a lifespan of more than a century and are perpetually reproductive. He continues by saying that he enjoys the ocean and can swim rather well.
Why lobster?
The manager compliments him on his choice of animal, saying that most people go for dogs, which has an impact on the animal food chain and the habitat. Before they depart, David's left hand is cuffed by the hotel, as it is against their policies for him to enjoy himself. Fortunately, David doesn't do that. The next day, he befriends two men at breakfast, John, who walks with a limp, and Robert, who speaks incoherently. Their mutual goal is to find girls that have their physical characteristics.
Would you like to join us?
They pass through the eating room, spotting a woman who is cold-blooded and another who has a bleeding nose, but none of the women have the same features as them. Later on, at an assembly, the singles are asked to stand and discuss what makes them special. According to John, he first noticed his limp when he went to see his mother after she had changed into a wolf. He's here because his wife passed away a while back. The others have similar stories to tell.
My guess is that one of those too quickly and took me to the hospital.
Throughout the day, the singles are given the chance to speak with possible partners. At a dance party, David approaches the nosebleed girl to dance with him, but understands that they don't share much in common. They are then told to go hunt the loners in the woods. The individuals that fled the hotel to avoid being transformed into animals are known as loners. They build a colony and remain in the woods because the city police would send them back to the hotel. It is permissible for the singles to hunt them down and shoot them with tranquilizers. Following that, the loners are returned to the hotel and transformed into animals. The number of loners the singles catch will be added to the number of days they have left in the hotel. David catches nothing on the first day, which indicates that his days are passing more quickly. Among the singles, the most skilled hunter is the cold-blooded woman who manages to catch roughly 10 prey in one hunt. The strange rules of the hotel also state that the maid should wake the men up in the middle of the night to spark their interest in dating sooner. One day, Robert's hand is burned in a toaster after it is discovered that he is enjoying himself.
I'm sorry, please!
During their next hunt, David takes a seat next to a woman whose favorite food is butter biscuits. She converses with David, but he doesn't seem interested in her, despite her advances at him. She says throughout their conversation that if she doesn't find a mate in time, she intends to jump out of her room's window. John, the limping guy, bumps his nose and causes it to bleed during a swimming session. Then, he approaches the nosebleed female and tells her that his nose bleeds constantly, pretending to match their features. At the next night party, after being declared a couple, John and the nosebleed girl are moved into a double room. A few days later, the girl with the butter biscuits leaps out of her window and ends her life. The heartless girl sees her whimper in agony, but does not move to assist her. Since he just has a week left to find himself a girl, David approaches the cruel girl, appearing as though he doesn't care about people's lives either. The woman is drawn to David because she is searching for someone who lacks feelings, much like her. For a while, they just hang out and talk, while David continues his act. One day, While they are in a hot tub, the woman pretends to die to test whether David will notice, but he just stays in his seat and doesn't give a damn. The woman begins dating him after realizing that he is genuinely similar to her. They are even placed in a double room together and given access to activities like tennis and dining at a table for two that are only available to couples. After a few days together, the heartless girl realizes David is acting emotional when they start to become close. In an attempt to test him, she kicks his brother Bob to death one morning. David initially maintains there's no problem, but later on, the woman discovers him sobbing in the restroom.
They turn you into the animal no one wants to be.
She pulls him down the corridors to the manager, accusing him of lying. But before she can, David uses a tranquilizer rifle to knock her unconscious. As she observes him doing it, the maid swears she won't tell anyone. David considers repeatedly striking her in the stomach as retaliation for his brother's death, but ultimately decides on a different strategy. He and the maid get her to the transformation room, where they change her into an animal.
That's none of your concern.
David then finally leaves the hotel by running away. He runs into a bunch of loners and their leader in the woods. One may believe he is at last in a group of excellent people. However, the boss is just as brutal as the hotel manager. She punishes the loners for engaging in love or sexual contacts. They also told David that two individuals had their lips severed a few days prior for engaging in flirtatious behavior.
What's the red kiss?
That was a couple of days ago now.
Following their explanation of the regulations, he's invited to join the group. When one of the loner females, who has David's short sight and black hair, first sees him, she is drawn to him right away. But she only speaks to him as a friend due to the loner's rule. Later that night, when the hotel guests arrive, Robert captures David during the hunt.
You're like a brother to me. Oh, you're my best. Oh, who's John?
David tries to save his life, claiming that Robert is his best friend. But the guy is adamant about catching him, because he only has 2 days left. David is saved from death by the black-haired girl who strikes him from behind.
Bye.
At the same moment, the hotel maid is seen meeting with the lead loner. As it happens, the two get together each time she goes hunting to let the leader know what's happening at the hotel. Despite her dissatisfaction with her husband, the maid is reluctant to leave him because she will eventually check into the hotel. Thus, she and the leader intend to strike and seize control of the hotel once. Each month, 2 members of the loner's crew disguise themselves as a couple and head into the city to buy supplies and food. Particular occasion, the leader and her companion take David and the girl with the black hair. When a policeman spots David by himself at the mall, he approaches him to inquire about his partner's need for a marriage license, but the girl with the dark hair intervenes to protect David. After a few days, the loners prepare to launch their attack on the hotel.
They both have a couple who both studied social.
That night, with the maid's assistance, they get inside and kidnap the manager and her spouse. They advise him to shoot his wife to death if the husband wishes to preserve his own life. The man shoots his wife without hesitation since he has no regard for her. But, as it happens, the gun was unloaded and the couple was intended to be shown through the kidnapping that they are in a hollow relationship and do not care for one another. At the same time, when David pays John and the nosebleed girl a visit, he tells her that he is pretending to have a nosebleed so they may be together. Once their point has been established, the loners quickly depart and head back into the woods.
I don't mean to pressure you.
Later that night and for the next few days, the maid becomes a member of the loner group. David grows fond of the girl with the black hair as they become closer. In an attempt to stay together, they even have plans to flee the group. All this is recorded in the girl's journal, but before they can carry out their plan, the leader reads the journal and discovers their relationship. Despite being furious at the betrayal, she doesn't confront them.
Beach is nearby, Pus. Greek island located in...
Instead, a few days later, she brings the girl with black hair to the city, promising to cure her short sight, but actually causes her blindness. After making her way back to the woods, the girl with dark hair discovers what is happening and attempts to murder the leader. Instead, she ends up killing the hotel maid. She is spared by the leader, who lets her go to David. She initially tries to hide the fact that she has become blind, but eventually admits it because she fears he will leave her. David is uneasy now that they don't share any physical characteristics, but he makes the decision to stay with her and support her in using her other senses of touch and smell.
Don't cry. Crying will make her...
Over the following days, they look for further characteristics that they might share, but fail, and David can't bear to leave go of her. He advises them to kill the leader and flee the forest. It is at night that they carry out their strategy. The leader is kidnapped by David, who then dumps her into an open grave. A little bit later, she is approached by some wild dogs who begin to eat her body. In the meantime, he gets dressed and flees the woods with the girl had dark hair. They soon stop at a downtown diner. David has chosen to become blind, so the two are compatible. They discuss the choice for some time before asking the waiter for a knife. To blind himself, David gets up and heads to the bathroom, but he pauses halfway. The film ends suddenly without revealing whether or not they ever led normal lives. Thanks for watching, and remember to turn on your notifications to watch more movie recaps like this one.